Hi chat, we're doing ASMR again, and this time I'm actually going to be quiet. Because I feel like last time I just wasn't really quiet. I was just kind of talking normally. I'm not gonna whisper the whole time. I'm not gonna whisper the whole time. I'm gonna be quiet. Hush about that. Okay, there's some things I need. I didn't put up, so bear with. You can hear my little tippy tappy keyboard if you want. I think that's kind of awesome. Okay, here we go. I don't really know what we're rocking with today. I guess we'll read more stories. Because I really liked doing that yesterday. Okay, let me put on just chatting. Should I put background music on or should I not? I feel like I should. I'm gonna put on background music. Hey Nasty, welcome in. No, Ruth, you're not late. We just started. Bran, what am I doing? I forgot. Okay, here we go. Background music. You're not first, that's right, that's true. We're doing a lot of things. We're doing a lot of things and stuff right now. I think you can still technically claim first, by the way, Ruth. If you wanted to. It's kind of cheating, but it's fine. You're allowed to cheat every now and then. What are we doing? What are we rocking with? Okay. Yesterday we finished Bent Draft. And today I want to do another, like, kind of, not like a long one, but like kind of long. Yeah, like sort of long. If I want to do like a classic. Like a classic one, you know. Maybe like, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. This is another one where I probably should have. That's the plan, but I don't know what to read. That's a good creepypasta story. Maybe Eyeless Jack. That's not a creepypasta, but I could read. Should we pivot? Should we pivot to non-creepypasta and actually instead just stories generally? Okay. Hey Lemon, welcome in. I can read it in Arabic, that's kind of cool. And in German. I can read this in any language I want. I can read children's stories. Oh my god, I feel like this should be on screen. I'm seeing some shit. I didn't know this story was Norwegian. Hang on. Just for a moment, I feel like I need to, like, pull this up. Look at this. What the hell? What? Why was it all the way up there? Okay, it doesn't matter. Look at these guys. Oh. Let me bring it up. I could have this on screen the whole time, but I feel like that's not a good idea. I feel like it will distract me too much. But look at this guy. Oh, I kind of fuck with him heavy. Hang on, let me like crop him properly. There's nowhere really good to put him. I'll put him here for now. He's so cool. I kind of really like this guy. I think he's kind of awesome, generally speaking. He's like cool. Well, you know, he's like kind of awesome. Okay. Okay, hang on, I need to be looking at my stuff. So I know like it's like proper. It's good and proper. Okay. This actually is so peak. I don't think there's anything been like there's never been anything more peak. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of it now that we've seen the guy because there's no pictures. Okay, there kind of is, but like they're small. And I kind of don't want to have the thing up the whole time. So I feel like that's not peak. Okay. I said I was gonna have an asset that shows I'm reading a book, but I don't have one. Okay. That's kind of sad. I wish I did. I should find one for next time, maybe. Okay. Let me take a sip of my drink. I'm drinking Monster again. You guys are gonna think I'm gross, but it's the same monster from last stream. This monster's been sitting on my desk open for almost 24 hours. I hope you guys don't think any less of me because of it. I never finished it last night, and I'm not going to throw away a perfectly good monster. It's actually nicer now that it's been sitting on my desk for a while. Maybe that's not true, but it's still good, so I'm still drinking it. I uploaded a new ASMR video like right before this stream, so like you guys should check it out. The stream or like either one's cool with me. I'm fine with either. I think you guys will rock with it. Tails wrote the script, which means it's big. Loki. Okay, I'm actually ready now. No more dilly-dallying. Once upon a time, there were 3 billy goats gruff. Little billy goat, middle-sized billy goat, and great big billy goat, who lived in a field in a green valley. They loved to eat sweet grass, but sadly, their field was now brown and barren because they were greedy goats. They'd eaten every last blade of grass, but they were still hungry. In the distance, they could see a field that was full of lush, sweet, scrummy grass. But alas, there was only one way to get to it. Over a rickety bridge, over a stream. But under the bridge lived a terrifically terrifying, terrible troll named Trevor. Trevor's kind of a peak name for a troll. I kind of rate that. But under the bridge, oh, I already read that bit. He was always hungry too, and there was nothing he liked better than to eat a nice juicy billy goat. That's really rude. I don't like Trevor anymore. I don't think I rock with Trevor, guys. The little billy goat was the first to reach the bridge. Gingerly, he put one hoof and then another onto the bridge, but because it was so rickety, however hard he tried, his hoof still went tip-tap, trip-trap on the wooden planks. He kind of is. Suddenly, there was a huge roar. I don't know what voice to do for Trevor. I don't know if I should do a voice. I don't know if I can do a voice in whispering. Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge? And out from under the bridge loomed the troll. Quaking in his hooves, little Billy Goat Gruff managed to squeak. It's only me. I'm only going for some grass to eat. Oh no, you're not. I'm going to eat you for my breakfast, lunch, and tea. I hate Trevor. I don't rock with Trevor. He's kind of scaring me. This is scarier than being drowned. Oh no, said terrified little Billy Goat Gruff. I'm just a little Billy Goat Gruff. Why didn't you wait for my brother? He's bigger than me and much tastier. This little goat's kind of an asshole too. He's selling out his bestie. So the greedy troll decided to wait, and little Billy Goat Gruff skipped over the bridge and began to eat the fresh green grass on the other side. The other goats saw little Billy Goat Gruff eating the fresh green grass and were jealous because they wanted some too. Now he's selling out his brother, and that's mean. I don't rate that. So middle-sized Billy Goat Gruff went down to the bridge and began to cross the stream. Trip, trap, went his middle-sized hooves. Again, the troll loomed from under the bridge. Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge? He roared. He's kind of locked in for the grass. I kind of do rock with that. Quaking in his hooves, middle-sized Billy Goat Gruff managed to stay in his softest voice. It's only me. I'm following my brother, little Billy Goat Gruff, so I can eat the sweet grass. Oh no, you're not. I'm going to eat you for breakfast, lunch, and tea. Oh no, Mr. Troll. You wouldn't want to eat me. I'm not big enough to fill you up. Wait until my big brother comes along. He's much tastier than me. Oh, all right, said the troll, and the middle-sized Billy Goat Gruff scampered over the bridge and began to eat the sweet green grass with little Billy Goat Gruff. Big bold Billy Goat Gruff was jealous and couldn't wait to get across the bridge and join his brothers. So boldly, he put his hooves on the bridge. Trip, trap, trip, trap. Suddenly, the troll loomed from under the bridge. Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge? He boomed. It's me, Big Billy Goat Gruff. Who do you think you are? I'm the troll, and I'm going to eat you for breakfast, lunch, and tea. Oh no, you're not. Oh yes, I am. You'll see. Then the troll rushed at Big Billy Goat Gruff, who bent his head and bravely charged at the troll, catching him up in his horns and tossing it up into the stream below. They killed Trevor Loki. The troll disappeared under the rushing water, never to be seen again. From then on, anyone could cross the bridge and enjoy the sweet green grass with the free Billy Goat's Gruff. They killed Trevor. I miss him. Oh God. Oh God, Trevor's dead. Nah, he deserved it. He was kind of mean. He was fucked up. I remember that too. I don't remember the goats kind of killing Trevor. Or the goat, I guess. The big goat killed him. I don't know what to read next. I can read that. Oh, this is so big. I love the freed pigs. Mrs. Pig was very tired. Oh dear, she said to her 3 little pigs. I can't do this work anymore. I'm afraid you must leave home and make your own way in the world. So the 3 little pigs set off. The first little pig met a man carrying a bundle of straw. Excuse me, said the first little pig politely. Would you please sell some of your straw so I can make a house? The man readily agreed, and the first little pig went off to find a good place to build his house. The other little pigs carried on along the road, and soon they met a man carrying a bundle of sticks. Excuse me, said the little pig politely. Would you please sell me some sticks so I can build a house? The man readily agreed, and the little pig said goodbye to his brother. The third little pig didn't think much of their ideas. I'm going to build myself a much bigger, better, stronger house, he thought, and he carried off down the road until he met a man with a cartload of bricks. Excuse me, said the third little pig, as politely as his mother had taught him. Please can you sell me some bricks so I can build a house? Of course, said the man. Where would you like me to unload them? The third little pig looked around and saw a nice patch of ground under a tree. Over there, he pointed. They all set to work, and by night time, the house of straw and the house of sticks were built, but the house of bricks was only just beginning to rise above the ground. The first and second little pigs laughed. They thought their brother was really silly, having to work so hard when they had finished. He's kind of silly, for real. However, a few days later, the brick house was complete and looked very smart, with shiny windows, a neat little chimney, and a shiny knocker on the door. One starlit night, soon after they had settled in, a wolf came out looking for food. Oh no. I don't like the wolf. I don't think I rock with the wolf. He's kind of scaring me. I'm kind of afraid of him. Kind of afraid of this wolf. I hope the pigs will be alright by the end of the story. One starlit night, soon after they had settled in, a wolf came out looking for food. By the light of the moon, he spied the first little pig's house of straw. And he slid up to the door and called, little pig, let me in. I forgot how big the story is, Lucky. Not by the hair of my chinny chin, replied the little pig. And I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in, said the wolf, who was very big, bad, and a greedy sort of wolf. And he huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the house in. But the little pig ran away as fast as his trotters could carry him, and went to the second little pig's house to hide. The next night, the wolf was even hungrier, and he saw the house of sticks. He crept up to the door and called, little pig, let me in. Not by the hair on my chinny chin, said the second little pig. The first little pig had hid, trembling under the stairs. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in, said the wolf. And he huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the house in. But the little pigs ran as fast as the trotters could carry them, and went to the third little pig's house to hide. What did I tell you? Said the third little pig. It's important to build houses properly. But he welcomed them in and they all settled down for the rest of the night. The following night, the wolf was even hungrier and feeling bigger and badder than ever. Prowling around, he came to the third little pig's house. He crept up to the door and called, little pig, let me in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," said the third pig, while the first and second little pigs hid trembling under the stairs. He huffed and he puffed, and he blew, but nothing happened. So he huffed and he puffed and he blew again, even harder, but still, nothing happened. The brick house stood firm. "Goat? Third pig, my goat?" The wolf was very angry. "I'm getting even bigger and badder by the minute. I'm going to eat you all," he growled. "Just you wait and see." He kind of a builder, yeah. I kind of rock with him heavy. He prowled around the house trying to find a way in. The little pigs trembled when they saw his big eyes peering through the window. Then they heard a scrambling sound. "Quick, quick," said the third little pig. "He's climbing the tree. I think he's going to come down the chimney." The three little pigs got the biggest pan they had, filled it with water, and put it on the fire to boil. All the time, they could hear the sound of the wolf climbing the tree and then walking along the roof. They're gonna cook him. They're gonna eat him. The little pigs held their breath. The wolf was coming down the chimney. Nearer and nearer he came, until a tremendous splash. He had landed in the pan of water. "Yow!" he screamed, and shot back up the chimney, thinking his tail was on fire. The last the three little pigs saw of the big bad wolf was him flying over the treetops, clutching a very sore tail. So the three little pigs lived happily ever after in the very smart houses of bricks. They all have brick houses now. It's kind of peak, guys. I kind of rock with that heavy. Hey, Ruth. Would you guys build your houses out of bricks? I don't know, maybe. I feel like... Yeah, I feel like wood is also kind of pretty sturdy if you, like, make it right. Like, sure, maybe, like... wood isn't, like, as sturdy as brick, but, like, wood looks nicer. And, like... I don't know. I just feel like wood could go crazy. Call me crazy. Call me insane, but I think wood is awesome. Okay, what are we reading next? The things with these stories is they're very short because they're kid stories. I can't think of a long story though. Yeah, like, I can't even think of like a long kid story. I might have to turn up way back to creepypasta. Unless, like... Hmm. Hey, Hedgie. I feel like Cinderella is kind of long. Maybe not. Okay, I feel like we turn up our way back to creepypasta because they are like technically scary, but like. Like maybe eyelash track. Like, I don't know. I don't know what a good story to read right now is. Hmm. I wonder if there's any folk stories about space. Hmm. I don't know. Let's see. I have an idea. And this website's not good. Okay, this one's not like long, but it's like longer, I think. There was once a child, and he strode about a good deal, and thought of a number of things. He had a sister, who was a child too, and his constant companion. These two used to wander all day long. They wondered at the beauty of the flowers, they wondered at the height and the blueness of the sky, they wondered at the depth of the bright water, they wondered at the goodness and the power of God, who made the lovely world. Why are all these stars godly? They used to say to one another, sometimes, supposing all children upon earth were to die, would the flowers and the water and the sky be sorry? They believed they would be sorry. For, said they, the buds are the children of flowers, and the little playful streams that gambol down the hillsides are the children of the water, and the smallest bright specks playing out hide and seek in the sky all night must surely be the children of the stars, and they would all be grieved to see their playmates, the children of men, no more. There was one clear shining star that used to come out in the sky before the rest, near the church spire, above the graves. It was larger and more beautiful, they thought. Then, they thought, than all the others, and every night they watched for it, standing hand in hand at the window. Whoever saw it first cried out, I see the star, and often they cried out both together, knowing so well it would rise, and where. So they grew to be such friends with it, that before lying down in their beds, they was looked at once again to bid it good night. And when they were turning around to sleep, they would say, God bless the star. Why is this story so godly? I don't want it to be godly. It's so godly. Okay, I'm gonna read about Aquarius instead. I don't know, star stories are all godly. Okay, let's find some lots. Let's find something to read. The Emperor's New Clothes is actually such a big story. Okay, run it. Once upon a time, there was an emperor who loved clothes. He loved clothes more than anything else. Every year, on his birthday, he would ask for lots of new clothes. And every year for Christmas, he would ask for lots of new clothes. In fact, all the emperor ever wanted was lots of new clothes. The emperor loved clothes so much that he had whole rooms full of them. And he loved clothes so much that he would get changed 12 times a day. One day, two strangers arrived at the emperor's palace. "We can make you the most beautiful clothes in all the world, and everyone will want clothes like yours," they said, bowing low to the emperor. "That is all I've ever wished for," thought the emperor, "to wear the most beautiful clothes in all the world." "You shall make me these beautiful clothes," ordered the emperor. For weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, the strangers worked on the clothes and wouldn't let anybody see what they were doing. The emperor grew impatient. He wanted to see the clothes now. So one day, he demanded to see them. When the strangers showed them to him, the emperor looked all around the room. He looked high, he looked low, but he couldn't see the new clothes anywhere. "Where are the new clothes I paid you to make?" demanded the emperor. "But they are right here, your majesty," said the first stranger. "What do you think? Aren't they made of the most delightful material, the most sparkling colours, and the most fashionable design?" The emperor looked around confused. He couldn't see anything. "I can't see any clothes at all," the emperor said. "These," the stranger said, "these clothes are so special and rare that the cleverest people can see them. They are too fine to be seen by stupid and ignorant people. That is the magic of these new clothes." "Oh, of course," said the emperor quickly, not wanting to appear stupid or ignorant. "They are beautiful. This is just what I always wanted. I'm sure my new clothes will be greatly admired by all my people. Can I try them on?" "Well," said the strangers, "as you can see, they're not quite finished yet, but you could pay us a bit more money. I'm sure we could have them ready in time for your big parade." The emperor promised to pay the strangers anything they wanted if they would have the new clothes ready by the big parade. He wanted everyone in the kingdom to see them. The day of the big parade came, and the two strangers presented the emperor with his new clothes. "Everyone will admire you, your majesty. The new clothes look most wonderful," the stranger said. By this time, the word had gotten out that these new clothes were so special that they could only be seen by clever people, and not wanting to appear stupid or ignorant. All the emperor's friends said, "Oh, how wonderful! Oh, what colours! Oh, what style! Oh, your new clothes are, magnificent, your majesty." "Oh dear," thought the emperor. "All my friends can see my new clothes, but I can't. Does that mean I'm stupid and ignorant and not fit to be the emperor? I will have to pretend I can see them, so nobody thinks I'm stupid. No one can know the truth." When it was time for the big parade, the Emperor put on his new clothes. "Follow me," he said to his friends, and marched out of his palace and onto the street. Crowds of people lined the road and watched the Emperor in the big parade. There were knights on horseback, huge elephants with jewels, and smartly dressed soldiers parading along the street. But the star attraction of the big parade were the Emperor's new clothes. Crowds had all heard that only clever people could see the Emperor's new clothes, and, not wanting to appear stupid or ignorant, they all said, "Oh, what a lovely outfit! Oh, doesn't he look smart? How lovely the new Emperor's new clothes are!" The Emperor was very pleased that everyone was admiring his new clothes, even if he couldn't see them himself. Suddenly, a little voice from the crowd shouted out, "Hang on, he's got nothing on. The Emperor is as naked as the day he was born." A hushed silence fell over the crowd, and the big parade stopped. Then, everyone suddenly burst out laughing. "The little boy's right," they said. "The Emperor hasn't got any clothes on." The Emperor blushed and went red. They were right. He wasn't wearing any clothes at all. "Pass me a cloak," he ordered one of his friends. "I must return to the palace and put some clothes on." Oh, I should not have trusted those strangers. They only wanted to flatter me and take my money. From that day on, the Emperor gave the little boy an important job in his palace, because he was the only one who had told the truth. And whenever the Emperor needed advice, he would always ask the little boy first. I kind of don't rock with that. I think, like, even if the kid told the truth, I don't think he should be trusted with, like, a job, you know? Like, I feel like maybe someone else would be still be better at the job, because, like, you know, he's still a child. He's still like a kid. No, maybe that's just me. Okay, what other stories should we read? I don't actually know. I feel like I should have had some, like, prepared, but I didn't, unfortunately. I could read a physical book. I have never heard of the Red Shoes before, I'll be honest. I can't remember the name. Don't spoil what I should read. Oh god. That was really loud. I have an idea, but I don't know if it's going to be, like, available. I can read the Winnie the Pooh books. Okay, I want to have a drink of my monster first. Here's Edward Bear, coming downstairs now. Bump, bump, bump on the back of his head. Behind Christopher Robin. It is, as far as he knows, the only way of coming downstairs. But sometimes he feels that there really is another way. only he could stop bumping his head for a moment and think of it. And then he feels that perhaps there isn't. Anyhow, here he is at the bottom of the stairs and ready to be introduced to you. Winnie the Pooh. When I first heard his name, I said just as you were going to say, but I thought he was a boy. So did I, said Christopher Robin. Then you can't call him Winnie. I don't. But you said. He's Winnie the Pooh. Don't you know what that means? Yes, now I do, I said quickly. And I hope you do too, because it was all the explanation you're going to get. Sometimes, Winnie the Pooh likes a game of some sort when he comes downstairs. Sometimes, he likes to sit quietly in front of the fire and listen to a story. This evening. What about a story? Said Christopher Robin. What about a story? I said. Could you very sweetly tell Winnie the Pooh one? I suppose I could, I said. What sort of stories does he like? About himself, because he's that sort of bear. Oh, I see. So could you very sweetly? I'll try, I said. So I tried. Once upon a time, a very long time ago now, about last Friday, Winnie the Pooh lived in a forest all by himself under the name of Sanders. What does that name mean? Asked Christopher Robin. It means he had the name over the door in gold letters and lived under it. Winnie the Pooh wasn't quite sure, said Christopher Robin. Now I am, said a growly voice. Then I will go on, said I. One day, when he was out walking, he came to an open place in the middle of the forest. In the middle of this place was a large oak tree, and from the top of the tree came a loud buzzing noise. Winnie the Pooh sat down in front of the tree, put his head between his paws and began to think. First of all, he said to himself, that buzzing noise means something. You don't get a buzzing noise like that, just buzzing and buzzing, without it meaning something. If there's a buzzing noise, someone's making a buzzing noise. Then he thought another long time, and said, and the only reason for being a bee that I know of is making honey. Then he got up and said, the only reason for making honey is so I can eat it. So he began to climb the tree. He climbed and he climbed and he climbed, and as he climbed, he sang a little song to himself. It went like this. Isn't it funny how a bear likes honey? That barely rhymes, the syllables wrong. Whatever. Buzz, buzz, buzz. I wonder how he does. When he climbed a little further, and a little further, and then just a little bit further, by that time he had thought of another song. It's a very funny thought, that if bears were bees, they'd build their nest at the bottom of trees, and that being so, if the bees were bears, we wouldn't have to climb up all these stairs. He was getting rather tired by this time. That's why he sang a complaining song. He was nearly there now. And if he just stood on the branch, crack. Oh help, said Pooh, as he dropped 10 feet on the branch below him. If only I hadn't, he said, as he bounced 20 feet onto the next branch. You see, what I meant to do, he explained, as he turned head over heels and crashed onto another branch 30 feet below. What I meant to do, of course, It was rather, he admitted, as he slithered very quickly through the next 6 branches. It all comes, I suppose, he decided as he said goodbye to the last branch, spun round 3 times, and flew gracefully into a gorse bush. It all comes of liking honey so much. Oh, help. He crawled out of the gorse bush, brushed the prickles from his nose, and began to think again. And the first person he thought of was Christopher Robin. Was that me? said Christopher Robin in an awed voice, hardly daring to believe it. That was you. Christopher Robin said nothing, but his eyes got larger and larger, and his face got pinker and pinker. So Winnie the Pooh went round to his friend Christopher Robin, who lived behind a green door in another part of the forest. Good morning, Christopher Robin, he said. Good morning, Winnie the Pooh, said you. I wonder if you've got such a thing as a balloon about you. A balloon? Yes, I just said to myself coming along, I wonder if Christopher Robin has such a thing as a balloon about him. I just said it to myself, thinking of balloons and wondering. What do you want a balloon for? You said. Winnie the Pooh looked around to see that nobody was listening, put his paw to his mouth, and in a deep whisper, Honey. But you don't get honey with balloons. I do, said Pooh. Well, it just happened that you had been to a party the day before at the house of your friend Piglet. You had balloons at the party. You had a big green balloon, and one of the rabbit's relations had a big blue one, and had left it behind, being really too young to go to a party at all. And so you had brought the green one and the blue one home with you. Which one would you like? You asked Pooh. Put his hand between his paws and thought very carefully. It's like this, he said. When you go after honey with a balloon, the great thing is to not let the bees know you're coming. Now, if you have a green balloon, they might think you are only part of the tree and not notice you. And if you have a blue balloon, they might think you're only part of the sky and not notice you. And the question is, what is more likely? Hey Solvix, welcome in. How are you doing? We're reading Winnie the Pooh, the first book. They might or they might not, said Winnie the Pooh. You can never tell with bees. He thought for a moment and said, I shall try to look like a small black cloud. That will deceive them. I'm doing pretty good. Then you had better have the blue balloon, you said, and so it was decided. Well, you both went out with the blue balloon. You took your gun with you, just in case, as you always did. Why's Chris got a gun? Why's he got the blicky? And Winnie the Pooh went to a very muddy place that he knew of. He rolled and rolled until he was black all over. And then, when the balloon was blown up as big as big, and you and Pooh were both holding on to the string, you let go suddenly, and Pooh Bear floated gracefully up into the sky, and stayed there, level with the top of the tree, about 20 feet away from it. Hooray, he shouted. Isn't that fine? Shouted Winnie the Pooh down to you. What do I look like? You look like a pear holding a balloon, you said. Not, said Pooh anxiously. Not like a small black cloud in a blue sky? Not very much. Oh well, perhaps from up here it looks different. And, as I say, you never can tell with bees. There was no wind to blow him nearer to the tree, so there he stayed. He could see the honey, he could smell the honey, but he couldn't quite reach the honey. After a little while, he called down to you. Christopher Robin, he said in a loud whisper. Hello. I think the beast suspects something. What sort of thing? I don't know, but something tells me that they're suspicious. Perhaps they think you're after their honey. It may be that. You can never tell with bees. There was another little silence, and then he called down to you again. Christopher Robin. Yes? Have you an umbrella in your house? I think so. I wish you would bring it out here and walk up and down with it, and look up at me every now and then and say tut tut. It looks like rain. I think if you did that, it would help the deception which we're practicing on these bees. Well, you laughed to yourself. Silly old bear. But you didn't say it out loud because you were so fond of him, and you went home for your umbrella. Oh, there you are, called down Winnie the Pooh as soon as you got back to the tree. I was beginning to get anxious. I've discovered that the bees are now definitely suspicious. Shall I put my umbrella up? He said. Yes, but wait a moment. We must be practical. The important bee to deceive is the queen bee. Can you see which is the queen bee from down here? No. A pity. Well now, if you walk up and down with your umbrella, saying tut tut, it looks like rain. I shall do what I can by singing a little cloud song, such as a cloud might sing. Go. So while you walked up and down and wondered if it would rain, Winnie the Pooh sang this song. How sweet to be a cloud, floating in the blue. Every little cloud always sings aloud. How sweet to be a cloud, floating in the blue. It makes him very proud to be a little cloud. I like the cloud song. I like it a lot. The bees were still buzzing as suspiciously as ever. Some of them, indeed, left their nest and flew all round the cloud as he began the second verse of his song. And one bee sat down on the nose of the cloud for a moment and then got up again. Christopher. Ow. Robin, called the cloud. Yes. I've just been thinking, and I've come to a very important decision. These are the wrong sorts of bees. Are they? Quite the wrong sort. So I should think they would make the wrong sort of honey, shouldn't you? Would they? Yes. So I think they shall come down. How? Asked you. Winnie the Pooh hadn't thought about this. If he let go of the string, he would fall. Bump. And he didn't like the idea of that. So he thought for a long time and then said, Christopher Robin, you must shoot the balloon with your gun. Have you got your gun? Of course I have, you said. But if I do that, it will spoil the balloon, you said. But if you don't, said Pooh, I shall have to let go, and that would spoil me. When he put it like this, you saw how it was. He aimed very carefully at the balloon and fired. Ow. Did I miss? You asked. You didn't exactly miss, said Pooh, but you missed the balloon. I'm sorry, you said, and you fired again. This time you hit the balloon, and the air came slowly out, and Winnie the Pooh floated down to the ground. His arms were so stiff from holding onto the string of the balloon all that time, that they stayed up in the air for more than a week. And whenever a fly came and settled on his nose, he had to blow it off. And I think, I'm not sure, that this is why they call him Pooh. Is that the end of the story? Asked Christopher Robin. It's the end of that one. There are others, about Pooh and me, and Piglet and Rabbit and all of you. Don't you remember? I do remember, and then when I try to remember, I forget. That day when Pooh and Piglet tried to catch a heffalump, they didn't catch it, did they? No. Pooh couldn't because he hasn't any brain. Did I catch it? Well, that comes into the story. Christopher Robin nodded. I do remember, he said. Only Pooh doesn't very well, and that's why he likes having it told to him again. Because then it's a real story, and not just remembering. That's just how I feel, I said. Christopher Robin gave a deep sigh, picked his bear up by the leg, and walked off to the door, trailing Pooh behind him. At the door, he turned and said, "Coming to see me have a bath?" "I might," I said. "Didn't hurt him when I shot him, did I?" "Not a bit." He nodded, went out, and in a moment, I heard Winnie the Pooh bump, 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 going up the stairs behind him. Should we continue Winnie the Pooh? Or should we perchance read out? It's only been an hour, but I am very tired. Winnie the Pooh was making me sleepy. And Raya's live. And I love Raya. I think I'm gonna read out to Raya. No, I'm gonna read another chapter. Actually, I changed my mind. Edward Bear, known to his friends as Winnie the Pooh, or Pooh for short, was walking through the forest one day, humming proudly to himself. He made up a little hum that every morning, as he was doing his stoutness exercises in front of the grass, as he would stretch up as high as he could, and then, as he tried to reach his toes. After breakfast, he had said it over and over again to himself, until he had learned it off by heart, and now he was humming it right through, properly. While he was humming this hum to himself, and walking along gaily, wondering what everybody else was doing, and what it felt like being someone else. But suddenly, he came to a sandy bank, and in the bank was a large hole. "Aha," said Pooh. "If I know anything about anything, that hole means rabbit," he said. "And rabbit means company," he said. "And company means food and listening to me humming." So he bent down, put his head in the hole, and called out, "Is anybody home?" There was a sudden scuffling noise from inside the hole, and then silence. What I said was, "Is anybody home?" called out Pooh, very loudly. "No," said a voice, then added, "You needn't shout so loud. I heard you quite well the first time." "Bother," said Pooh. "Isn't there anyone here at all?" "Nobody." Winnie the Pooh took his head out of the hole and thought for a little, and thought to himself, there must be somebody there, because somebody must have said nobody. So he put his head back in the hole and said, "Hello, Rabbit, isn't that you?" "No," said Rabbit, a different sort of voice this time. "But isn't that Rabbit's voice?" "I don't think so," said Rabbit. "It isn't meant to be." "Oh," said Pooh. He took his head out of the hole and had another think, and then he put it back and said, "Well, could you very kindly tell me where Rabbit is?" "He's gone to see his friend Pooh Bear, who's a great friend of his." "But this is me," said the bear, very much surprised. "What sort of me?" "Pooh Bear." "Are you sure?" said Rabbit, still more surprised. Quite sure," said Pooh. "Oh well, then, come in." So Pooh pushed and pushed and pushed his way through the hole. At last he got in. "You were quite right," said Rabbit, looking at him all over. "It is you. Glad to see you." "Who did you think it was?" "Well, I wasn't sure. You know how it is in the forest. One can't have anybody coming into his house. One has to be careful. What about a mouthful of something?" Pooh always liked a little something at 11 o'clock in the morning. He was very glad to see Rabbit getting out the plates and mugs, and Rabbit said, "Honey or condensed milk with your bread." He was so excited that he said both, and then So as not to seem greedy, he added, "But don't bother about the bread, please." And for a long time after he said nothing, until at last, humming to himself in a rather sticky voice, he got up, shook Rabbit lovingly by the paw, and said that he must be going. "Must you?" said Rabbit politely. "Well," said Pooh, "I could stay a little longer if you." He tried very hard to look in the direction of the ladder. "As a matter of fact," said Rabbit, "I was going out myself directly." "Oh, well then, I'll be going on. Goodbye." "Well, goodbye. You're sure you won't have any more?" "Is there any more?" asked Pooh quickly. Rabbit took the covers off the dishes and said, "No, there wasn't." "I thought not," said Pooh, nodding to himself. "Well, goodbye. I must be going." So he started to climb out the hole. He pulled with his front paws, pushed with his back paws, and in a little while his nose was out in the open again, and then his ears, and then his front paws, and then his shoulders, and then, "Oh help," said Pooh. "I'd better go back." "Oh bother," said Pooh. "I shall have to go on." "I can't do either," said Pooh. "Oh help and bother." Now, by this time, Rabbit wanted to go for a walk too, and finding the front door full, he went out by the back door and came around to Pooh and looked at him. "Hello, are you stuck?" he asked. "No," said Pooh carelessly, "just resting and thinking and humming to myself." "Here, give us a paw." Pooh stretched out a paw, and Rabbit pulled and pulled and pulled. "Ow," cried Pooh, "you're hurting." Did fish work, or did it not work? I can't really tell if fish worked. I don't think it did. Which is kind of sad. Try it again, maybe. Check it. Yeah. Well, it worked for me. I don't know why it doesn't work for you ever, Lemon. "The fact is," said Rabbit, "you're stuck." "It all comes," said Pooh crossly, "of not having front doors big enough." "It all comes," said Rabbit sternly, "of eating too much." "I thought at the time," said Rabbit, "only I didn't like to say anything." Said Rabbit, "that one of us was eating too much. And I knew it wasn't me," he said. Well, I shall go fetch Christopher Robin." Christopher Robin lived at the other end of the forest, and when he came back with Rabbit and saw the front half of Pooh, he said, "Silly old bear," in such a loving voice that everybody felt quite hopeful again. "I was just beginning to think," said Bear, sniffing slightly, "that Rabbit might never be able to see his front door again, and I should hate that," he said. "So should I," said Rabbit. "Use his front door again," said Christopher Robin. "Of course he'll use his front door again." "Good," said Rabbit. "If we can't pull you out, Pooh, we might push you back." Rabbit scratched his whiskers thoughtfully and pointed out that when Pooh was pushed back, he was back, and of course, nobody was more glad to see Pooh than he was. Still, there it was. Some lived in trees and some lived underground, and "You mean I'd never get out?" said Pooh. "I mean," said Rabbit, "that having got so far, it seems a pity to waste it." Christopher Robin nodded. "There was only one thing to be done," he said. "We shall have to wait for you to get thin again." "How long does getting thin take?" said Pooh anxiously. About a week, I should think. But I can't stay here for a week. You can stay here all right, silly old bear. It's getting you out which is so difficult. We'll read to you, said Rabbit cheerfully. I hope it won't snow, he added. I say, old fellow, but taking up a good deal of my room in my house. Do you mind if I use your back legs as a towel horse? Because, there they are, doing nothing, and it would be very convenient just to hang towels on them. A week, said Pooh gloomily. What about meals? I'm afraid no meal, said Christopher Robin, because of getting thin quicker. But we will read to you. I'm afraid, Bear began to sigh, and then found he couldn't because it was so tightly stuck, and a tear rolled down his eye, as he said, could you read a sustaining book, such as would help and comfort a wedged bear in great tightness? So for a week, Christopher Robin read that sort of book at the north end of Pooh, and Rabbit hung his washing on the south end. And in between, Pooh felt himself getting slenderer and slenderer, and at the end of the week, Christopher said, now. So he took hold of Pooh's front paws, and Rabbit took hold of Christopher Robin, and all of Rabbit's friends and relations took hold of Rabbit, and they all pulled together. For a long time, Pooh only said ow, and then oh. And then, all of a sudden, he said pop, just as if a cork were coming out of a bottle. And Christopher Robin and Rabbit and all of Rabbit's friends and relations went head over heels backwards. And on top of them came Winnie the Pooh, finally free. So with a nod of thanks to his friends, he went on his walk through the forest, humming proudly to himself. But Christopher Robin looked after him lovingly, and said to himself, silly old bear. Okay, I think we're gonna read out for real now. Who should we read? I wanna read. I'm gonna read Raya. She's technically not doing ASMR, but she is doing an art stream and those are usually quite chill. Okay, thank you everyone for watching. I'll be back on like Saturday or Sunday.